Very good morning to you all. Without much ado, we would want to start the this morning's session. So, as we have already told you, we shall be looking at um, the speaking test. And as you know, language exists in two forms, certainly. So, you either would express language in writing or in speech. And so, it's very necessary that in your IELTS, you are tested in terms of your speech, hence the speaking test. Now, we first of all would have to go through what is required of you, or if I may say, how your speaking test is scored. What do they look at? All right. When you know what is expected of you, it's easy for you to go out there and do your best and get the band that you need. So let's first of all start by looking at what is expected of you, or the criterion for scoring. Okay. First of all, you are scored on your fluency and your coherence. So fluency and coherence. What goes into fluency and coherence? When we talk about fluency and coherence, mainly we want to talk about the speed of your speech, all right? So by speed, we also don't mean you have to sort of move at a pace that is in your natural way of talking. All of us have our pace of talking. Some people talk with high pace, others are slow speakers. Okay, however you speak, that should not really be an issue. However, we don't want you to speak with pauses, unnecessary pauses, where a pause will mean where a pause indicates your lack of, let's say, words or ideas. That will be bad to your speaking test. But in your natural speech, there are times where you need to pause. These things come with you naturally, all right? Those are not what I'm referring to. But I'm referring to a way of talking where there are so many stoppages and let's say stops and pauses, all because you don't know what to say next, all right? So you're going to have a low score if you're unable to piece your thoughts together and make them flow. Okay, so for instance, if you are to answer a question, you're expected to talk fluently, okay, until whatever idea you want to send across is fully sent. All right, so under fluency, check the speed of your speech. Also, we want you to check the length of your answer. In these exams, there are times where you need to give very short answers. Those times will come. However, there are some questions that would demand that you elaborate. Okay, so we will let you know when a question demands your elaboration and when you don't really have to elaborate. But ideally, because it's a speaking test and they are looking for an opportunity to test your speaking ability, you would need to speak at length generally so that they could have that clear opportunity to assess your speaking. So as I said, as we go on, I'll let you know when you have to be elaborate and when you have to be brief. So also, you have to use accurate pauses. Accurate pauses. Just as when we write, we use punctuation marks. Punctuation marks are sort of, they act like traffic lights. When you use a road, you get to a point where you are asked to stop, to get ready to move, and all of that. So when we speak, we use pauses and as punctuation marks, so to make our ideas, let me say, speaking with such accurate pauses helps you to sound good. Okay, native speakers speak with these things, and it is your correct pronunciation and your accurate pauses that gives you some sort of rhythm, or even like an accent. Okay, even though in the IELTS we are not looking so much of, to an accent, it is very important that you are able to harness your speech by having accurate pauses and also the right pr- pronunciation. Okay, when you don't pronounce a word right, you're likely to say something different from what you really mean. So, in your speaking test, we encourage you to have correct pronunciation, accurate pauses. For instance, if I'm listing something, for instance, if I went to the shop to buy, let's say, a pencil, an eraser, and a book, okay, accurate pauses will come in when I'm listing these ones. For instance, I want to buy a book, a pencil, and an eraser. It's better than say, I want to buy a book, a pencil, and an eraser. Okay, when you're listening, you use a type of intonation called the circumflex. The circumflex goes up and down. All right. So whatever you are saying, for instance, if you want to say something and you begin with a dependent clause, like I went to the market, but I did not find. Okay, I slapped him because he insulted me. All right, I slapped him because he insulted me. This is the normal order. The normal order is that your main clause comes first, and the subordinate clause, which explains why the action of the main clause took place, follows. Okay, so I slapped him because he insulted me. Alternatively, I can invert the order and bring the main clause first. Like, because he slapped me, because he insulted me, I slapped him. Now, when my dependent clause comes first, I need to pause in the middle to indicate a comma in case that I were writing. Okay, so for instance, because he slapped me, sorry, because he insulted me, I slapped him. All right. When I started with the reason, I needed to have a pause. So these things will be checked, and they come with you naturally if only you've learned the language well. All right. So kindly make sure that at least you have harness your speaking skills well as regards pronunciation, as regards where to pause and when not to pause, and also being able to talk at length. All right. So this is under fluency and coherence. And the coherence specifically, we are looking at how you piece your ideas together. Speech should be a continuous stream of words, all right? When you compose anything down, we want your ideas to be interrelated. Your answers must not look too detached from each other. If you were to write in, let's say, if you were writing and you had some paragraphs, you see those words that you would have used to join your paragraphs. Moreover, furthermore, these things should appear in your speaking, all right, so that you can sound very coherent. Another criterion for assessing your speaking is what we call lexical resource. I didn't say lexical, I said lexical resource. So pronunciation comes in here. The letter sounds X. So you don't say lexical as in galaxy, that would be wrong. It is letter X, so the S takes the vowel A, so that becomes lexical, as also as in galaxy and the like, all right? So some pronunciation lesson for you there. So lexical resource. As for resource, you can say resource or resource. The two pronunciations are accepted. Okay, so under lexical resource, you want to check the wide range of vocabulary that you have. Don't also say vocabularies. Okay, that word exists in a single form. So English has vocabulary. English vocabulary consists all the words in English. Okay, that's the vocabulary of English. And the lexical resource. IELTS tests you how many words you have. Okay, not in the totality of how many words really, but do you have enough words to express any idea that comes to your mind? You've been asked a question and you need to respond. Do you have enough words? And not just enough words, but are the words appropriate? In language studies, we call something register. Okay, the register talks about the specific language or the specific words which are used in every field of study or every field of life. For instance, when the police are sent to arrest someone, we don't say the police is going to catch, even though literally they catch the person. We use arrest. So in that parlance or in that field, The word arrest is part of the register of words used in that field. If you go to the court, if you go to court and somebody is sent to prison or is asked to be kept, we don't say they put the person in a room. We say that the person has been kept in custody. Okay, so your ability to use the right words to suit different contexts will earn you marks. For instance, if you went to the airport and you were asked to describe a journey you've embarked on, and in your attempt to explain your journey, you say that when you board it, like when you climb the airplane, you see, you wouldn't climb an airplane. You would what? Board it. So when you board the airplane and you say that it started walking slowly or moving slowly on the road, airplanes we don't use these words in terms of airplane. So that slow movement of any plane before it hits a runway and now speeds up and flies is what we call taxiing. So appropriately, instead of using words like it started moving slowly and all that, you would say that the airplane started taxiing. As you do these things, you show, you event, you illustrate to your examiner that you have a wide range of lexical resource to express any idea. And you just don't speak from the general sense, but you use specific words. Okay? So don't just have enough words, but have enough relevant words to the topic you are talking about. Okay? So that's it for you about lexical resource. I've talked about pronunciation, which also is one of the things we will look at. So basically, we're looking at fluency and coherence. We're looking at lexical resources, and we're also looking at your grammatical range and pronunciation. As regards grammatical range, IELTS tests your ability to speak good grammar, your subject-verb agreement. Okay, your concord should work. Your subject should be able to match very well with your verbs. A lot of people have a problem in these things. Frankly speaking, if your grammar is not strong, you may want to work on it before you take any IELTS test. Many of the companies that teach people or prepare individuals for IELTS do not really do grammar lessons, all right? So you would have to, on your own, or find a company who does these things, or anybody, to help you sort of build your grammar before you, because anything you do, whether it is writing, whether it is speaking or whatever, your grammar will have to come to play. Beyond speaking good grammar or having your grammar right, we also would need you to talk and write in or with different sentence types. Okay, there are different types of sentences. There is a simple sentence, there is a compound sentence, there is a complex sentence, and a compound complex sentence. Advanced learners, when we were young, all of us read books that were full of simple sentences. Here is Kofi, Kofi is a boy, blah, blah, blah. At each level, you see short sentences. That is elementary, it's very rudimentary. As you mature, as you advance, as you move high, you're expected to show maturity in your sentence construction by using more advanced sentences. Move away from the simple ones, which makes your speech very choppy. Okay, so a speaker's ability to combine a variety of sentences in his or her speaking tells how advanced they are in their speaking, and that goes a long way to award you marks. Frankly, if a person speaks with a variety of sentence forms, they make a very good speaking. Okay, so these are things that you must look at in your speaking test. Let's now look at the speaking itself. These are the criteria they look in marking you. Okay, so once again, we want to talk about pronunciation. It's very key. We understand that we are non-native speakers, that's a fact. However, any good dictionary can help you to know how to make pronunciation. I have a lot of tricks or let me say strategies to help you pronounce words well. Just that the medium and the time is not enough for me to show you all those ways. However, you need to get your pronunciations right. Here in our company, we as we lecture, we show our students simple strategies to pronounce words right. We put premium on pronunciation and how to connect words. When you talk, there is a way of streaming, of connecting your words. So we teach you how to do what is called connected speech. We have we have how you link vowels to consonants, and how you can do many other things that can make your speech sound very nice. So we don't really want you to sound, we are not expecting you to sound like a Brit or like an American or like a Canadian or anything. You don't really have to have an accent. However, if you pronounce things right, and if you pronounce words right, and if you use the right stresses, naturally you produce an accent. It's just like a 1 + 1 = 2. It will come naturally. There is no force in it. All right. So whenever you are prepared to write IELTS and you want to sign on, if you go to any of our offices, we have lecturers or instructors that can help you better your pronunciation. Okay. So I'll move on from here into the real. Let me give you some basic words that we often mispronounce. A few tips for you. Okay. For instance, the word IMPORT. Let me spell it to you. Kindly look at my screen and let me show you something small. Now, the word, pardon my font color, let me change it to black. If I type this word there, the word you see over there can be a noun and it can also be a verb. When we write it, it has the same form, the same spelling. However, in pronunciation, they differ. One is pronounced import and the other import. How do you know these things? I'll tell you. Very simple, very easy. When we are pronouncing nouns which have two syllables, we put the stress on the first one. Okay. So let me divide this word into 2 syllables with a period. So the first part, I and M, forms our first syllable. Okay, that is M, and the second one is is a port. If this word is pronounced as a noun, we have to stress the first part. And in your dictionary, you see something like a comma on top. That shows you that is where the stress is. So when import is a noun, the stress is on the first syllable, as you can see there. But when import is a verb, we put our stress now on the second syllable. I'll pronounce it for you to hear. Now, my father is into rice business. He imports, you see, he imports rice. The rice he imports are called imports, okay? Imports, first syllable high. Imports. Look at the verb. Import. The noun. Imports. The verb. Import. Okay. So these are very simple ways. I'll give you more examples. Very simple ways to pronounce the words rightly. Look at words like convict and convict. To show you the difference very well, let me make the unstressed part small letters. Okay, so this is the unstressed part in the noun form. Here, import is a noun. Great. Good. So import here is a noun, all right? This is the verb form. This is a verb. Check it well. The part in small letters are the unstressed parts, and the parts in capital letters are the stressed parts. So look at it very well. Import, rise, import. Look at the verb, import. Let's look at the word, this one. If you're following me, you can use the same principle to attempt pronouncing this one rightly. Okay, so in much the same way, this word is what? Convert. Somebody is a convert. Excuse me, I'm not trying to be religious, but a Muslim, a Christian convert. All right? But look at the verb form. the verb form, in the verb form, my unstressed syllable is written in small letters, and I write in caps my stressed syllable. So this one becomes what? Converse. So we converted them to become converse. English is lovely. We converted them to become converse. All right. So we here in our company, we take time to let you know much of these things so that you can better your pronunciation. Last one, if you're a farmer, we talk so much about cocoa farmers because of what they produce. So your word, first of all, is not produce. Is not produce. So what you see here is produce. In English, when you often sounds you, when you miss a consonant, it often sounds you, educate, situation, and all of that. So the combination of D and U will give you a Ju sound, okay? So the word you see here is not produce. It is what? Produce. And produce is a noun. What then, how then will the verb form be pronounced? In the verb form, our unstressed syllable is written in lowercase, and we write our stress level in uppercase. So look at this. The first one is produce, and the next one, produce. Do you see it? Produce. So we produce produce. All right. If you speak this way, naturally you get your break. We call this one word stress. If you stress this word very well, and you stress the sentences very well, you end up having a particular rhythm that makes your speech very melodious, and it becomes very lovely for the ears to hear. All right. But when you don't do these things, you sound very monotonous, and your speaking can become very, very unpleasant. So this is just something small for you on pronunciation. Later, if you join our full class, we can help you better your pronunciation very well. So I have talked about the 4 criterion for assessing your speaking, namely fluency and coherence, and grammatical range, where we have said that you should speak good grammar, and we've also talked about your vocabulary, lexical resource, where we said you should have a wide range of vocabulary. One reason you should have a wide range of vocabulary is that in all the in IELTS, we do much with synonyms. There's a lot of paraphrasing of words, using different words to mean the same things. All right. Okay, so you need to have a lot of words to be able to pass your IELTS. Okay, so let's now come to the speaking test itself. So your speaking test is a face-to-face interview. And once again, let me do this one. A lot of people who didn't know how to write face-to-face. If you were writing, this is a speaking test anyway, but if we were to write face-to-face, many would have written it without the hyphens, as in face-to-face. Okay? But when you use 2 or more words to qualify one word, like interview, all right? So you have what I've written on the screen now is face-to-face interview. Okay, face-to-face here. Face-to-face here are 3 words brought together to do one purpose. What's the purpose? They are to qualify the word interview. As a result, we are using the 3 words as an adjective. Okay, because we are using it as an adjective, we are supposed to link them, or sort of join them into one word. Okay, so I have to put a hyphen to it. When I do this, we say that I have hyphenated the word. So as it is now, we say face-to-face interview, where face-to-face come together to qualify interview. These are what we do to help our students. We take our time. We are not just interested in teaching IELTS. We take time to let you know the basic things. We think that paying all that money is huge, and your success also makes us happy. So we are very patient in looking at some of these things, all right? So back to the speaking test. This is a speaking test, and it's a moment where you are brought face to face with your examiner to talk so that the examiner can score you. Frankly, the examiner is going to record everything, the whole conversation. The entire speaking test takes between 13 to 15 minutes. Okay, so you do your speaking test within, let's say, 11 to 15 minutes. You would have to prove your worth within the short period. Let's go to the various stages, or let me say phases of your speaking test. Your speaking test has three phases. Okay, let's see what those three phases are. First of all, we have a phase we call, there's a phase we call interview. The first phase is called the interview and introduction and interview, all right, or introduction or interview. Introduction. Now, at this part, you are asked very basic information about yourself. Okay, I'll go through some of the questions that you may be asked and how to answer them. Because it is introduction, they ask you some personal questions about yourself. And here you give relatively short answers. Questions like, what is your name? Okay, so in a typical IELTS speaking test, you would go and sit as I'm seated. One of the first things that your examiner is likely to do is to ask of your passport. Because it's a speaking test, we don't expect you to just hand the passport over to them without saying anything. Say something. Okay, let something go with the act of giving the thing to her, or him or her. So, for instance, if I'm the interviewee and I've been asked to give my passport, I can say, "Here you are." Okay, just don't give it and keep quiet. Say something. The first cut we say is the deepest. Do not underestimate this session. You can make a very good impression on your examiner if you are able to speak well or use the right words in this very session. So, for instance, your examiner can ask you, or will ask you, what is your name? Here, you just tell your name. There are varieties of ways of saying your name. You can move away from the normal or the usual "my name is" or the usual "I am called." You could probably say, "I respond to," let's say, Ebenezer Boshachman. That's my name. Okay? Very often, when they have asked you what your name is, they may ask you how they should call it, for instance, and how do I call it? So I tell you my name, that my name is Ebenezer Boshachman, and an examiner asks me, how do I call you? Here, because they want the conversation to be, so to speak, relaxed enough, they want to call you by a name which is quite casual, for example, your first name. When we want to sound very formal, we use surname. That is why we use titles with surname. So when they ask you, how do I call you, preferably you should tell them your first name, which often is easier to pronounce by anyone. Okay, so give them your first name, and the rest can continue. The next question, so they will ask questions about your name, where you come from, and what you do. These are likely questions that will be asked you in your speaking test for the first session of the speaking test. So first one, in case you are asked, you may be asked what you may be asked of your name. Okay, your name. You may be asked where you come from. Okay, and what you do. Sorry, what you do. Here, okay. Now, under what you do, they may be looking for whether you're a student or you work. Okay, so for instance, what's the name? I respond to Ebenezer Boshachman. How do I call you? Please call me Eben. Where do you come from? They just want to know where you come from. But it's better you add just a little bit of information. For instance, I come from Kumasi, or let's say I come from Ejiso in the Ashanti region. Okay, this is good enough. I come from Ejiso in the Ashanti region. All right. Now, you also can be asked what you do. Here, you tell if you're a student, just say that I'm a student. If you work, to say I am a nurse, or let's say I'm a teacher, or I'm this. All right. If you can add an institution where you work. Okay, for instance, I'm a teacher at Dreams Consult. Right. These are very simple questions that will be asked you for your first session, and this takes between 4 and 5 minutes. Okay, it's very short. However, there is a short transition from the short questions. Sorry, from the questions that demand very short answers to one that demand very elaborate answers. This is the portion that I will call the interview. Okay, even though it is still part of the introduction, there is the slight difference here is that you are asked questions that demand more quite elaborate answers. For instance, do you like colors? Or let's say I told them I come from HSO, and he or she asks me a follow-up question like is it just one interesting place to live? Here I don't have to give short answers. I need to begin to be elaborate. All right. So in your introductory session, there is a time you give short answers, and these often are to questions like your name, where you come from, and what you do. But if you are asked other questions like, do you like colors? Do you like shopping? Or what's your interest? What's your hobby? These questions would demand elaborate answers. So we want you to be elaborate at this part, even though it is still in the first session. And as I told you, this one will take between 4 and 5 minutes. When you move from this session, we go to the second part, which often is called the individual long term. Here, you are going to speak for between 1 to 2 minutes, all right, on a topic. So the examiner will write something on a piece of paper and give it to you. The paper on which he or she writes that question is what we call the cue card or the task card. It is called the task card because it has the task that you're supposed to work on. The task is simply a question. For instance, talk about an interesting place you visited. All right? Talk about an interesting place you visited. This is a question that you can have. Okay? Now, when you're given a question like this, the examiner will also, or the task or cue card will also come with some things you should include in your speech. So, if you were asked to talk about an interesting place that you've been to, you'd be asked to tell us what place it is, or let's say what place it was when you went there, what you saw there, what makes the place interesting. Okay, so you have been asked to talk about an interesting place that you've been. Let's say an interesting place that you visited. As part of your question, you get sub questions like, what is the name of the place? What is the name of the place? Okay. 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 Right. So I will pause now for you to ask questions before I go on to the other session. So we are going to open your microphones. If you have any question, kindly ask. So if anybody has any question on what I've said so far, you may ask before we proceed.
Nana, hello, Nana. You asked a question on the chat, in the chat column. Could you ask that question so the teacher would answer?
Okay, I was asking concerning the hello.
Yes, we
We
are
can
with
hear
you.
you.
Yes, I was asking concerning the interview phase, and he was saying that they can ask you what your name is, and the response should be you are supposed to just mention your first name. I want to get that please right. Is it
Okay.
just your first name, or you are going to mention maybe my name is this and that, or you just have to
Okay.
say the first name only? That's what
Okay.
I want.
Let's take another question.
Okay. Let's take another question. Then we can answer the question at a go. Any more questions, please? Okay. As we wait for questions, let me answer Nana so we can save time. Nana, I said that two questions are likely to be asked you. First of all, what is your name? To this question, you answer by telling your full name. All right. To this question, you answer by what? Telling your full name. But in the examiners know that you are likely to be tense, and we all will underperform when we are tense. So they try to create some casual environment for you to feel free to give your best. As a result, they ask of your first name. Okay, sorry, they ask of a name they should call you with. So after asking you what's your name, they are likely to also ask you, and how do I call you? So it is to this question that I said, often tell them your first name. I am Ebenezer Bashaji. So in case I'm asked, what's your name? I'll say, I'm Ebenezer Bashaji, man. If I'm asked again, and how do I call that? I can say, call me Ebenezer or call me Eben. So that is exactly what I said. If it is clear, kindly respond and let me know. Lena? Lena?
Hello, please it's clear.
Thank you so much.
Hello.
Thank you.
Yes, please I want to ask a question again.
We're ready.
Concerning yes, concerning the what about if you've ever visited an interesting place before. With this
Yes.
one, you were saying that there are sub
Question.
questions under
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
is it that he is going to ask you those sub questions, or I should know that I'm supposed to answer it in a systematic order by going about by saying the place I visited, by explaining why I visited that place and how interesting that place is to me,
Okay.
or
All right.
the yes.
Everything comes on what we call your task card. So the task card is a sheet given you that has one, the question. The sub questions are to guide you to know what to say. You see, you will be given just 1 minute to make preparation for the 2 minute long talk. Just in order to guide you to know what to say, they give you let's say things to say so that you weave your answer around these things. It also helps in making the assessment standardized so that everybody was asked, let's say, to talk about this. Let, for instance, if you go to an interview and you are asked, tell me about yourself, you don't really know what the interviewer needs. In IELTS, we give you the luxury of making you know what is needed. Okay, so you can say any other thing, but make sure you include these things we have asked you to add. So talk to us about a place you have visited, an interesting place that you have visited. Tell us the name of the place, okay? Or you should say the name of the place, when you went there, and all these ones. These ones are what we call task requirement. You are assessed under many things, including the task requirement. The task requirement are the things you should cover in your speech. So they give these ones to you when you have the luxury of choosing one, two. Like you can go about them chronologically or step by step, but you're also free to go out about them in any way. But just make sure that by the time your 2 minutes is over, you have covered all those things they said your speech should include. I hope you're okay now.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
You're welcome. So frankly, those sub questions are beneficial to you. It helps you know what they expect, so you don't beat about the bush in 2 minutes. All right.
Okay, thank
Thank you.
you.
So any other question, please? Any other question? Okay. Hello?
Daniel, Daniel, can you hear me? Daniel seems not to hear me. That's fine. Okay, so
All right. So let's go on. I'll share a bit of my screen with you so you can see something small. Okay. Now, if you're looking on my screen, you can see the structure of the interview. All right. So part 0, as you can see, deals with part 0 here deals with greeting and identity check. Your passport is often taken and checked and is given back to you. It is for this session that I said, when given your passport, at least say something. Here you are. You may have a seat. And when it's returned to you, kindly say thank you and just put that there. Okay. Then come for introduction and interview. I'm done with that part. So I'll go straight to the individual. Somebody, please, if your microphone is on and you're not talking, you may shut it down. Only put your microphone on when you have a question. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, this is the individual long term or even like long run. It is at this session that you are given a task, and the task has some requirements, like I've just told you. Write about this, or or let's say, talk about an interesting place that you've ever visited, and you're giving sub questions. All right, you'll be talking between 1 and 2 minutes. Your target is to talk to up to 2 minutes. You will be timed. The examiner will time you. All right, and when your 2 minutes is up, they will ask you to stop talking. Your target is to be able to speak for that 2 good minutes without stopping. Now, before you start talking, you'll be given 1 minute to prepare. That 1 minute is also time. As soon as it is up, you'll be bailed out and asked to start talking. All right? So, how do you go about this session? This is one part that a lot of people fear. Because some of the questions which I asked you are quite, they may even be new to you, but there are a variety of tricks to help you to present yourself very well at this session. Now, when you are asked any question, for instance, talk about your favorite childhood toy, okay? Talk about your favorite childhood toy. Look at the words in the question. Keywords like nouns, content words like nouns, and like adjectives. So you have favorite there, you have childhood, you have toy. You can start off by talking about these 2 words before you start coming to your task requirement. You can start talking about childhood. Everybody has a childhood, okay? And our childhood comes with memories, some pleasant, others unpleasant. So you see, I've started off talking about childhood and what comes with childhood: memories, play, game, toys. Okay, you can start off like this, whine a little bit to make up for, just to while away some time. Meanwhile, you have your eyes on your task requirement. So for the first 30 seconds, try to give some sort of introduction to your speech. All right, and this will save you some time. By the time you are done with this introduction, you are left with about some 1 minute, 20, 30 seconds to talk. And you can use this time to now deal with your task requirement. Tell us what toy it was. Okay? Was it a zebra? Was it a car? Was it a doll? So you tell us how you got it, who gave it to you, at what age did you get the toy? Include all these ones. Here, IELTS or your examiner will not be keen on, or will not be interested in the veracity of your answer. I mean, whether the answer is true or not true. They just are checking your speaking skills, the way you articulate words. I mean, you put words together, your grammar, your vocabulary. So you can just conjecture. You are free to create a scenario, and you must be good at creating scenarios. You must create a scenario in a short time and start talking. But you must be coherent enough. By being coherent, we mean that organize your thoughts so that you don't talk from A and you jump to C, where you come back to B. All right? Organize your thought. So this one goes on for 2 minutes, and adding the 1 minute for preparation, that is for 3 good minutes, and the part 2 will be done. When you go to the discussion part, which is step 3, you are asked follow-up questions on the task you pick. So if you pick a task on a favorite childhood toy, you are asked questions about childhood and toys. So for instance, they can ask you follow-up, they can ask you follow-up questions like, is it good for children to use toys? All right? Here you are expected to talk at length. Not at length as in non-stop, but you must state your answer, give reasons to it. If you have sources, you can quote the sources, for instance. So as you can see on your screen now, here, answer your question. Is it good for children to use toys? Of course, absolutely. You see these words? These are words you use to answer in the affirmative. You agree. Okay, of course, absolutely, certainly. It is very important or good for children to use toys. All right? After stating your point, you now come to give reasons why that is important. As part of your reasons, if you have any source to cite, kindly do. Okay? If you have any source to cite, kindly do, just to buttress your point of the importance of children to sort of play with toys. Then they can also ask you, how have technology impacted children's toys? Okay, how have technology? Okay, let's say, how has technology impacted children's toys? Here, they only want to know the effects of technology in toys, on toys. How have toys changed with the advent of new technology? At first, toys were basically not electronic, but now we have electronic toys. We now have toys that can be maneuvered by remote controls. Some can fly, others can move at the press of a button. All these were not so some decades back. Okay, so that goes to say that it is true that technology has had a colossal effect on children's toys. So it behooves you, don't say it behoves on you. It's wrong. Don't say it behoves on you. No. Say it behoves you. We call that one collocation. When you say behoves, you don't need on, all right? So it behoves you, or it behoves you, or it depends on you, or you can say it is incumbent on you. That's IELTS for you. You need to get a wide range of vocabulary, okay? You need to get many words to say the same thing. So it behoves you, it depends on you, it is incumbent on you to do A, B, C, D, all right? Good. So at this point in time, it behoves you to get the right, explanation and reason, examples, even personal experiences to support the point you have made. Okay? Whether you pick yes or no is no most important. IELTS here is not an intelligent test, so they're not really after whether the answer you've chosen is what is right or not. No. But how do you sort of